The murder of Sharon Tate. The murder of Sharon Tate, a rising Hollywood star, along with 4 others in her home on August 9, 1969, is one of the most infamous and horrifying crimes of the 20th century. The brutal killings were carried out by members of the Manson family, a cult led by Charles Manson. This gruesome event marked the end of the 1960s era of peace and love, and highlighted the dark underbelly of counterculture and fanaticism. Background: Sharon Tate was born on January 24, 1943, in Dallas, Texas. She moved to Hollywood in the early 1960s to pursue an acting career and quickly gained attention for her beauty and talent. By the late 1960s, she had starred in several films, including Valley of the Dolls, for which she received a Golden Globe nomination. In 1968, she married Roman Polanski, a Polish film director known for his work on Rosemary's Baby. At the time of her murder, Tate was 8.5 months pregnant with her first child. Charles Manson, born on November 12, 1934, had a troubled early life, including frequent run-ins with the law. By the late 1960s, Manson had become the leader of a cult-like group called the Manson family, which he led with a mix of charismatic manipulation, psychological control, and apocalyptic prophecies. Manson believed in an impending race war he termed Helter Skelter, a term he borrowed from the Beatles' song of the same name. He convinced his followers that they needed to ignite this war through violent acts. The murders. On the night of August 8, 1969, Manson instructed 4 of his followers, Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian, to go to 10,050 Cello Drive in Benedict Canyon, the home rented by Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate, and totally destroy everyone in it, as gruesome as you can. Polanski was in Europe working on a film, leaving Tate at home with her friends, Jay Sebring, a celebrity hairstylist, Abigail Folger, heiress to the Folger coffee fortune, Wojciech Frykowski, Folger's boyfriend, and Stephen Parent, a friend of the property's caretaker. The Manson family members arrived at the property after midnight on August 9, 1969. Tex Watson first cut the phone lines and then climbed a fence to enter the property. The group encountered Stephen Parent, who was leaving after visiting the caretaker, and Watson shot him 4 times, killing him. Entering the house, the intruders gathered the residents in the living room. They tied up Tate and Sebring by their necks with a rope slung over a ceiling beam. Sebring was shot and stabbed repeatedly as he protested the rough treatment of Tate. Frykowski and Folger attempted to escape but were chased down and brutally killed. Frykowski was stabbed 51 times, shot twice, and struck 13 times with the butt of a gun. Folger was stabbed 28 times. Sharon Tate, despite pleading for the life of her unborn child, was stabbed 16 times by Susan Atkins and Tex Watson. The word pig was written on the front door in Tate's blood. Aftermath and investigation. The following day, Los Angeles awoke to the shocking news of the murders. The brutality of the crime scene horrified the public and the media, leading to widespread fear and speculation. The next night, members of the Manson family killed Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, a crime also orchestrated by Manson, further spreading fear. The police initially had no leads, and it took months before the connection to the Manson family was made. The breakthrough came when Susan Atkins, arrested for unrelated charges, bragged about the murders to a fellow inmate, who then informed authorities. By December 1969, several members of the Manson family, including Manson himself, were arrested and charged with the murders. Trial and sentencing. The trial began in June 1970 and became one of the most sensationalized in history. Manson and his followers displayed bizarre behavior throughout the proceedings, often disrupting the court and making strange statements. The prosecution, led by Vincent Bugliosi, argued that Manson's control over his followers was so complete that he effectively ordered the murders without being present. On January 25, 1971, Manson, Watson, Atkins, and Krenwinkel were found guilty of first-degree murder. Linda Kasabian, who had acted as a lookout and did not directly participate in the killings, was granted immunity in exchange for her testimony against the others. Later that year, Leslie Van Houten, another Manson follower, was convicted for her role in the LaBianca murders. All of the convicted were sentenced to death, but their sentences were commuted to life imprisonment when California temporarily abolished the death penalty in 1972. Impact and legacy. The murder of Sharon Tate and her friends marked a profound shift in American culture, shattering the idealism of the 1960s and highlighting the potential for violence within fringe groups. The Manson family murders became a symbol of the dangers of cults and the power of charismatic leaders to manipulate and control vulnerable individuals. Sharon Tate's death had a lasting impact on her family, friends, and the public. Her mother, Doris Tate, became an advocate for victims' rights, working tirelessly to ensure that Manson and his followers remained in prison. Doris's activism contributed to the passing of the Victims' Bill of Rights in California. The case has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films, reflecting its enduring fascination and horror. Roman Polanski, devastated by the loss of his wife and unborn child, continued his career but carried the scars of the tragedy for the rest of his life. Conclusion. As we explore the murder of Sharon Tate on True Crime, we will delve into the detailed timeline of events, the investigation, and the broader societal implications of this tragic case. Join us as we examine the evidence, the impact on the community, and the ongoing fascination with the Manson family murders. The story of Sharon Tate serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating effects of violence and fanaticism.